Hey everyone, it's Colin. How's it going? Apple Computer saw rapid changes in the early 90s, and some new technologies it was involved in paved the way for items we now take for granted. But one product it launched got little attention and proved to be well ahead of its time. A brief history lesson is in order. Sales for Apple in the early 90s were excellent. The company was ranked #1 in personal computer sales, and it was also the most profitable.
According to InfoCorp, worldwide market share, Apple Computer is the #1 company in the world.
But troubled times lay ahead, due both to market forces and Apple's growing internal dysfunction. The Mac product lineup had become increasingly and needlessly complex, to the point where even Apple was surprised by which products were successful.
Now that we have such a wide range of Macintoshes, it's very hard to know which one of these is going to really be a big seller.
There was also the fallout from the inevitable discontinuation of the Apple II platform in 1993. And the personal computer market as a whole was changing rapidly. PC prices were plummeting amid fierce and growing competition. There was also the increasing threat from Microsoft's Windows operating system. Windows 3.1 had proven very popular, and there was a lot of anticipation for its upcoming OS codenamed Chicago, which would ship as Windows 95 in August of that year. Apple realized that its impressive growth through the 80s and early 90s wasn't sustainable, so it set out to make dramatic changes to ensure profitability. It improved its hardware lineup by migrating to the faster PowerPC processor architecture and expanded into consumer electronics through accessories and the ill-fated Newton PDA. Apple also furthered its software efforts through an internal division called AppleSoft. It was tasked with delivering new products not just for the Mac, but also Windows. In November 1993, Apple launched Software Dispatch. It was a CD-ROM that contained encrypted versions of a variety of commercial programs and games.
What if you could try new software without buying it first? What if comparing products could be as simple as this? What if you could buy new software without ever leaving your desk? What if there were hundreds of new software products in your computer right now? What if owning new software could be as easy as picking up the phone?
Hello, Software Dispatch.
Introducing Software Dispatch.
Software from publishers like Adobe, Claris, Berkeley Systems, and Maxis was included, and each disk came with a unique ID number. The interface was pretty plain and straightforward, but could be sorted by things like category, name, or price. Some titles came with a presentation about their features, either as a simple slideshow or a short video.
Ahead, walk back to 2.
Wait, the board used local talk?
Most illogical.
Other products on the disk offered a software trial. Some were a feature-limited version where you could try the tools but maybe not create or save files, or in the case of games, you could only play the first level. If there was a program you wanted to buy, you could add it to a shopping cart, then call a toll-free phone number. You'd provide the agent with the details of your order by simply reading off a short string of characters the cart generated, along with your CD's ID number. And after you gave your credit card information, the agent would then generate product keys that would unlock the software on the disk so you could copy it to your hard drive. This was a fairly innovative idea for the time. The majority of computer users had to purchase software in retail stores or through mail order. The internet was still very young, and even those with access to it would have found software downloads to be extremely time-consuming, given the low-speed modem connections common at the time. Having the software already on the disk and able to be purchased and used right away was a big convenience. But the service in many ways mirrored the state that Apple was heading towards. A novel idea in general, but disorganized and with an uncertain future. I wasn't able to find out exactly how many different editions of the CD-ROM ever got published, but there were at least 2. The initial release called the Premier Edition from the winter of 93 to 94, and another called the Productivity Edition from the following spring. While some of the software titles were different between the two, a large number of them were the same. The software on the disk was protected from just being copied off straight away, but the rest of the process generally worked on the honor system. The software dispatch CD-ROM could be used to reinstall the software you bought later on by simply entering the product keys again. But there was no way to prevent someone from copying and running software they purchased on someone else's computer. Apple also offered a generous return policy. Whereas a retail store would only accept a return on software if the box was still sealed, Software Dispatch would give you your money back within 30 days, even if you simply didn't like the programs you bought. But since there was no way to prevent a product key from working after it was generated, customers only had to promise that they'd delete the software and not install it again. The discs were given away for free, included in the boxes for other Apple products, and mailed to a number of existing Macintosh owners, hence the spot on the back for a mailing address. Yet the packaging also listed a price tag of $9.95, suggesting Apple at least considered charging for just the disc itself. There were plans to offer Software Dispatch for Windows as well, and news of this certainly caught the computer press's attention, but that version seemingly never materialized. And as novel as Software Dispatch seemed, it wasn't the only product to offer this sort of buying experience. A few others sprung up around the same time, all with the same sales model, but some with different target markets. Club Kidsoft, for example, only offered educational software, while others had a business and productivity focus. And interestingly, Software Dispatch wasn't even entirely written by Apple. Its underlying encryption technology was licensed from Rainbow Systems, the same company who made those software licensing dongles. It was apparently a popular option for these shop-at-home software CDs, as Club Kidsoft, amongst others, used the technology as well. A particularly good example of a Windows counterpart to Software Dispatch was called On Hand. It was published by SoftBank, a Japanese company which is probably better known today for its investment in telecom businesses. On Hand's interface looks very similar, and it also offered a wide variety of programs. It included even more titles than Software Dispatch, which it spread across 2 CD-ROMs. But when you purchased something, SoftBank charged a shipping fee. And that's because, unlike Software Dispatch, they'd send you a boxed copy of the software, complete with printed manuals, in addition to unlocking the version on the disk. Software Dispatch ended up fading into oblivion sometime in the middle of 1994, likely as part of major cost-cutting by new Apple CEO Michael Spindler. Software sales through the program had been poor, partially due to the fact that not everyone had a CD-ROM drive just yet, but also because a number of big-name companies declined to participate, like Aldus, WordPerfect, or Microsoft. On Hand was better in this regard, as it was able to secure deals with larger publishers, even offering high-end titles like the full Microsoft Office suite. And curiously, On Hand also sold the Windows version of FileMaker, which was a product by Apple's subsidiary Claris. Of course, today it's incredibly common to buy software through a digital storefront on our devices. When Apple launched its iPhone App Store in 2008, it was an instant hit. But 15 years prior, its lack of success in the form of software dispatch, and the relative failures of similar services suggests in part that the world simply wasn't ready for the eventual future of buying software. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at thisdoesnotcomp. And as always, thanks for watching.